so we can have it for, you know, future. All right. So any questions up front?
No.
You want me to start on the list from 1 to 100?
All right. Well, why don't I just start at the beginning, and then we'll just go through it. So when you look at the StudioPress website, you're going to see your home screen like this. So we're going to go over the core functionality of the site. The other thing that I did do, I just want to show you real quick, is on the Profound website, there are 6 tutorials that are probably more in depth than what StudioPress has to offer in services, and then AgentPress tutorials, and I've got them all lined up here. I don't know if you guys saw that, but they'll be here if you want to go back and look at those.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
So here's the AgentPress website. This is where I've logged in. I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. Okay. All right. So to do the slider, Scott, were you able to see how that works?
Honestly, no. This is my first weekend that I'm going to be dedicated to the website.
Okay, no problem. So what you want to do for the slider is, where is that? So the first thing you need to check is that in the theme settings. Oop, I gotta log in. That this setting here, enable the slider, is checked. So then to have the images show up, you need to put them in a category. Now I just created a category called featured properties, and you could call it slider pictures, whatever you want to call it, to have those show up here on the slider, and I'll show you where you do that. You can also, right now I have it set to 4. If you want to increase it to more, you can just, you know, increase the number of posts here. You can also increase how long the slides stay up. Right now I have it set to 6,000, which there's 1,000 milliseconds to a second, so they stay up for 6 seconds before they move to the next one. Or maybe you want to slow the transition speed down, so you would increase this number here, and you can just play around with that to your liking. So then to look at posts, well, let's make a new one. So that's I'm gonna make it 5 just for fun. So we'll save the settings. It's probably the most common mistake is people will come in here and make a change and then they go click on something else without saving. So you just want to make sure that happens. All right, so if you see here, these are the featured properties, which is the same as that selection I made where it had enabled the slider. And you can see the image, and there's some dummy text I put in. So this is 12 Sweetwater Street, so let's go back here. That's not it. If the image is too small, it'll look like that. If it doesn't fit, there it is, 12 Sweetwater Street. That's what it looks like. So now, one thing to be aware of is when you put this picture in, this is actually a larger picture. WordPress will resize it for you. So I can actually take this out of here. And let's put it back in. And we can see the actual full-size image is 960 by 370. But the one that I originally had in here in this post was 300 by 115. So if your picture, it needs to be at least 920 pixels wide for it to fit on that slider. But again, to show it in this post, like let's just put it. Let me put it back in here. Let me save it. Now, if I look at this post, see how the picture's small here, but when I look on the slider, it's big, because WordPress is automatically resizing it for me. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now this is definitely the advanced theme, so I just want to invite you to, you might struggle with it a little bit, but that's part of the learning process, and you only have to learn this once. And to me, this is probably the most powerful SEO theme that I've seen I've been doing this for a couple of years now, that's out there. I mean, there's some really cool stuff you can do with the listings that we're going to look at. All right, so the other thing I wanted to look at was how do you configure the e-news and updates area. Now this is something that you put a feed in, and what that does is somebody puts their email address in here. Anytime you have a new listing or new article, they're going to get it. And probably what people are going to want would be new, properties. Usually that's what people are looking for in real estate. So this is all handled in a widget. Everything on the sidebar here is what we call a widget. And the widgets are, if we go to the dashboard, to the Appearance tab here, click on Widgets, we can see in the header right, this is the header area here, and this is header right, this widget. And your sites come pre-formatted already. And I put the title in e-news and updates. I can change this, because right now it says e-news and updates. I can just call it get new listings. Let's save it. Refresh. See that? Get new listings. I can change this button. If I want go, or I can make it whatever I want. Sign up to receive property listings. I can make it sign up to receive new foreclosures. All right. But to make this work, you'll notice on your sites that you don't have the enter your email address does not become live until you put the feed burner ID in. Now, I have a video on how to create the feed for the AgentPress theme. It's very easy to do. All you need to do is go to feedburner.com, and you need to burn a feed. Now, I've already done one for this, but basically you just need to put your URL in. So in my case, it's the correct structure is like the name of my test website is applyandfly.com. And then you need to add /feed/RSS. I'm not a podcaster, so I'm not going to select that. But you do need to have a Google account to be able to make FeedBurner work. So, like if you have, that just means like you have a Gmail account. Even if you don't use it, to get this, just sign up for the FeedBurner account. Click Next. This is all in the video. I can actually change, I can make a name for my feed. I can call it the foreclosure list for Arizona, or I don't know, however you want to do it. And this is your feed address right here, which when you click Next, you just copy this Control C, and this is what gets pasted here. Okay?
Okay.
Now it's not quite done yet. There's still a couple more steps. Let's see if I can remember. Don't need that. But we do need the... I even forgot. Optimize, not optimize.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Publicize. Oh, email subscriptions right here. So you just click on this and click activate, which I already have one, so I'm not going to click activate. But that's all. That's all you need to do to get a FeedBurner account. And again, it's in the video. All right, so let's go back to. All right. The other thing you can do, if you notice in my test site, the default theme for AgentPress does not have, like, I just put a thing about my, about my firm. One of the things I didn't like about the theme in the default is it's really not a good place where you can put information about what your services are or about what you offer. You can add this in a, and this is in the featured there's featured properties and featured posts. This section up top is featured properties, even with this about my firm, and the bottom piece is the featured posts. So you have two different areas there. But you can also customize those. So here's featured properties. Now you can see that I have the featured posts and about my firm. Now right now the featured posts or featured properties are above the text about my firm. Well, I can change that simply by dragging it just like that. If I come back here, now the text is up top here. Pretty easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So how do you take care of featured properties?
Yeah.
It's too close. It's too close to the last sentence of about my firm.
Yeah, I've got some code that fixes that. So we can make spacing that fixes that. Actually, I think on yours,
It's taken care of.
yeah, it's taken care of. Anyway, you have code that fixes that. So, all right. So that's the nice thing about WordPress is you can customize it that way. And to get different features into these areas, all you have to, like if I want a calendar in here, all I have to do is just drag. Now a calendar is going to show up. Let's save it. I don't know that you'd want it, but anyway, calendar. Easy, right? Well, I don't want the calendar there. Let's delete it. Close. Now, your featured post widgets, I've pre-configured them. And right now I have it that this site is showing 4 featured properties. Well, maybe I don't want 4. It takes up a lot of room. How about just 2? I apologize. I just upgraded to Firefox 4, and I'm used to Firefox 3.6 and the refresh buttons over here. All right, so now we have 2. Same thing with real estate tips. Maybe I don't want all that information on my home page. Maybe I just want 1 or 2. So that's the featured posts where it says featured properties. I think just to make it easier, again, there's a featured post widget in here that gives you settings that you can play with. Let's just call this featured post just so it's not confusing. And right now I have 3 properties showing. 1, 2, 3. Well, I don't want 3. Let's make 1. It's like, to me, It's all personal preference. I don't like front home pages that have just piles of data on it. I mean, to me, I kind of like it like that, but you know, again, personal preference. And you can change. I wouldn't mess around with the images. Like these image sizes that are in here are designed for this theme. You can also take out the picture if you don't want the featured image. So there's some adjustments that you can make and play around with. So this image will disappear now. Make it reappear. Maybe I just want 2. The other thing is for this featured post, I have a content limit. Like it's only going to show 500 characters for the featured posts that are on the home page. And why I do that, so they all have a uniform. Oh, come on, Firefox. See, it just gives it a uniform look. You can change that, but to me it looks ugly. It's the same thing with here. Actually, if you change the amount of text that shows here, they'll be uneven and it doesn't look right. All right, any questions so far?
Not on that particular point, and I'm not sure if it is Maureen, right?
Yes, and I don't have my site up yet, so I'm just kind of in anticipation. So you ask as many questions as you want.
Okay, now
I've got a question, and it might be important to you, Maureen, in the future. As far as the slider, I think you're going to probably know what I'm going to ask real quick. How do you disconnect the slider from the featured property? So in other words, we have a standard slider that we can change, but that might not be connected to the properties we want all the time. In other words, the properties can come and go down below, but I want that standard slider to be the same thing.
Yes.
I might change it every 6 months. How do I go about disconnecting the slider from the featured properties?
From these?
Yes.
They're actually not connected. These in the slider, these can only be pulled through from the category that you declare in the Genesis theme settings. Because I've said that I want the slider, see, we've got slider settings, that the slider shall only show from the category featured properties. So when I have I'm sorry?
I would have to create another category just called slider pictures.
I can call this I can call this whatever I want. In fact, let's do that just to show you how that works. Let's just create a category called slider. You don't necessarily have to worry about any of this. I usually don't fill in the slug or the parent. I'll show you. We'll get to how that works. So I'm going to add the new category. Let's go back to Let's go back to the posts, because what I did have was those slider images were in featured properties. So what I can do now is let's go to I'm just going to do 2 of them. So let's uncheck featured properties and put them in slider. I'm going to update. All right, let's do another one. See, now that wasn't slider, that wasn't featured properties. Slider. All right, so now when I come back to, is that still, there we go. When I go back to theme settings, what category do I want those to pull from? I want it to come from slider. Let's save it. Refresh. And we should only have 2 images in the slider now. Let's see. Yep. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Clear as mud, right? So,
Well, it'll be clearer once we start playing with it, probably.
Yeah. So let's just make this one. Now theoretically I could leave featured properties because it's only pulling from slider.
Well, and slider is only available on the home page or what?
Only for the slider. I'm flipping the switch that says enable the slider, and the slider says, well, where do you want to get the pictures from? And I'm saying I'm saying I have a category called slider. That's where you get them from.
Okay, but the slider feature is only available on the home page?
Correct. It's only going to be on this home page.
Okay.
All right. The other thing that let's take a look at a listing real quick. I apologize, I don't really have any real estate photos. This is supposed to be a sample listing. Pretend that's a house. This is text about the properties. I have a little gallery of pictures that I have on the property, and I can put some property details in. Here's another property, with a gallery.
Waterfront?
This is not Arizona. Okay, so let's just talk about the details section here. Maybe I want to put in different things. I want to make different features for that. All right, I can do that. So when I'm in the Genesis, the theme is Genesis, and then we're using a child theme called AgentPress. Now, you don't need to know what any of that means because it doesn't matter. But what we can do in the AgentPress settings is there's that list. I can add things to it. So when I'm making my new property, I have these fields. Now the other thing you can do...
You can specify what you want in there then.
Yeah, I could, if I want to have owner financing, whatever I want to type in here, I can do. Now you have the option
Does
here...
it have to...
I'm sorry?
Does it have to be the same for everyone? For instance, if you had a lot listing versus a house listing, could you eliminate the bedrooms on one and not on another one? Or has it all got to be the same?
Well, you actually have two property details sections, which you could actually have one for land.
Okay.
Acres, water, I don't know, whatever you need to know about land.
Yeah.
So I'll show you how because there may be a time when you need to have both property details sections, and I have a video on how to do this. We're going to do a demonstration of how to actually make a property listing. All right, so we're going to make a property listing in a new post. So let's add a new one and call this 9581 Flower Street. And let's find a picture. I don't really have great. I should probably get some real estate photos. I don't really have any. How about we'll use that for a real estate picture. So again, you see this picture is 800 by 521. WordPress will resize it for me. So I'm just going to insert that into the post. Now I need to get I'm just going to put some dummy text in, but normally I'd be writing might write a little blurb on the property. Okay, so here's the Here's the property details section that we looked at before. Oop, you can see I didn't save it because it didn't add the owner financing piece. Let's see. If you ever see elements disappear down here, like you might see some of these things go away, there's a little tab called Screen Options right here. You just click on it, and it'll put it'll put it back up on the screen. So, all right. Now I forgot to save what I did before, so it's not giving me the property details section number 2. How do I know that? Because I added that field, owner financing, forgot to save it. So that's what happens when you don't save stuff. You'll think that the program's broken. That was my error. So let's put in a listing price, make it 200,000. Address, what do we say, 9581 Flower Street. MLS number, I'm not going to fill all these out. Square feet, let's make it 4,002. Bedrooms 3. Alright, that's enough. So, okay, so how do I get that information to show up in the listing? Well, I don't have to know any code. I just have to copy this little thing here. It's called a short code. I just want to copy it. I'm going to paste it where I want it to show in the listing. Let's move it down. I want it under the picture. Okay. Now I want to put the property gallery in. Okay, well WordPress makes it very easy for me to put pictures in. So I click on the image button. I want to select some pictures for the gallery. And the one thing you want to do is if you try to upload pictures that are really large, you'll get an error. So typically I like to try to stay with photos in WordPress that are like the dimensions like 1,000 pixels by 800 would be the largest. Otherwise they won't load. So I'm just going to pick out a couple here. That's good for now. So it's gonna load those in. Let's save all the changes. And now this is the gallery. Now you remember this is the one we have for the home page. I can change the order of how these appear in the gallery just by, I can drag them and drop them. Save the changes. In columns, for this theme, it seems to work best at 3. And let's insert it into the gallery. Now when it's done properly you'll see something that looks like that. That just means there's a gallery. And I want to put that into, and I made some details here. It's 200,000. It's over 4,000 square feet. And this will make more sense when we look at the property search box over here. So, you guys, yesterday in the class you went over how to do the SEO, what all this stuff is. If I know Dale, he probably covered this yesterday. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's publish this. So now let's view the post. And there's our listing. Now sometimes, I don't know why, but it'll do that the first time, and you just have to refresh it. Or let's try reinserting the gallery. So I'm just going to delete it. Let's reinsert. We'll go to the gallery, and let's make it 3. Insert image gallery. There it is again. Update. I don't know why it's doing that. I'll have to figure that out. Let's try something.
Is it maybe because you've got 4 pictures, but it says to only show 3 of them?
It should be wide enough. Oh, that's interesting. It could be. Let's try this. Let's just try 2 across. Update gallery settings. Let's make this smaller. Refresh. I'll get back. I'll get back on that. I did something. I did that yesterday, and then I did something that made it work, but I forgot what I did. I'm sure it's something silly.
Dave, how about putting an IDX on here that automatically puts your listings in? Can you do that instead of doing these? Or in addition to?
Here, yeah, absolutely. The only reason you would want to do this is for the search engine optimization benefit. This is real. Okay. You're not going to get better SEO for a property than doing something like this. And again, it's a choice you make. Do I want to do that? Do I have time to do that? Do I want to have somebody else do it? I think part of this has to do with how my browser is. I have it on a big screen. I'm going to look. I have another monitor. Let me just see what that's doing over here. Yeah, see I think it's just the size of the browser I'm using is messing that up. Alright. Yep, that's the case. Okay, so I'm looking at it too big. I'm just making it big for the here. Okay. So that's how we do a listing. The other thing to look at, I probably should have looked at this first, was doing I know Scott, we did this, was doing this little image here is called a Gravatar. And again, you don't have to do this. It's just something that is a feature that's offered in this theme. So Maureen, to get a Gravatar, you just go to Gravatar. It's actually EN. Well, you can type in gravatar.com, it'll get you there. But it's en.gravatar.com. And basically a Gravatar it's just a picture of you, or an image of representation. It's kind of like it's almost like well, it is an avatar. So when you're out on replying to blogs and other people's blogs, it'll actually pull a picture of you in with the email address that you have attached to your Gravatar. So it's another way to it's just a way for people to see you online. I mean, I've known of people being contacted based on their Gravatar, the kind of comments they're leaving. I know people that have gotten business or contacts from Gravatar.
Well, do you want that to actually be a photo of you, or do you want it to be kind of icon, or what?
I think for real estate it should be you. I know on Scott's site, we have an actual picture of Scott and one of his associate brokers.
And Maureen, I'm going to be adding about 5 more people.
Okay.
I think they're nice. So where that happens again is in the widgets. It is in the primary. Where is that? Oh, that's the secondary sidebar. Primary sidebar, and it's just the Genesis user profile.
Okay.
And that is a widget that you can grab over here. Your theme should have that in it already. When we launch these,
okay,
we have all the base widgets configured and they're out there. You just need to add your own, where is it? Genesis, it's the user profile. Well, it's here.
It's under links.
It's under links.
Right where your arrow is, 3 up.
Oh, there it is. So you just drag it. It's like for Scott to add another one, you just drag it in. And there it is. But we don't need another one, so let's get rid of it. Now, if you notice in mine, I didn't have a title. Let's go back and put a title in, Dave's profile.
Dave?
Yes.
Don't you need to set them up as a user in the left-hand column also?
Very good. Thank you. Yeah. So, Maureen, to make that work, you have to come over and you have to add yourself as I know it's kind of silly, but you have to add yourself as add yourself as a user. So you want to add new. Well, first of all, let's look at the users that I have on here. There's the main admin, and then I've added myself. My email address, wordpressu@gmail.com, is where I use that address to set up my Gravatar. So there's my picture. So you just want to click Add New, which you can do from where I just did it, or under the Users tab, Add New, and you just fill out the information. The main thing is you want to use the email address that you signed up with your Gravatar here, otherwise it won't work.
Okay, could those all be the same email address? You don't have to have a special one, or?
No, whatever email address you sign up for your Gravatar account with, that's what will pull that in. So it's pretty easy. I think the last thing we wanted to look at was the Search My Homes piece. How does that work? All right. Let's see if I can remember. So that's the property search widget. Let's go back to widgets. And we are in the primary sidebar in the AgentPress property search widget. Well, there it is. So I have the option, I have 5 categories that I can use to search my properties. All right, well let's do a live one. All right, so let's go to my posts. We now have 1, 2, 3. I've got 5 properties in here. So how do we get those to show up in the search as a search feature? Well, let's make a category called. We want to allow people to search for owner financing. So owner financing, let's make the category. I'm making this up on the fly, so this may be a little goofy. Let's do owner financing, that's 10% down. Now, we want this to be a selection under owner financing. So owner financing is the parent. We want to give it some kids. So we're going to make this the parent for this new category 10% down. is owner financing. So watch what happens when I click add new category. This is indented, which means this is the child to owner financing. So now let's do 20% down. And that's, again, we want it to be the child to owner financing. Owner financing is the parent. So now we've got 10% down. All right, so let's go back into our posts. Let's go to Flower Street. And we want to make that owner financing at 20% down. So let's update that. All right, just waiting for the database to update. Let's go back to one Roadrunner Road. Let's make this owner financing. What did I make that, 20% or 10%?
Oh, 10.
So let's make this one 20. All right, so now let's go back to the widget, because we have to tell the widget what to do. So let's do owner financing. And the category is that we created was owner financing. And watch what happens. So let's come back here. Let's refresh. And now we have that new category, and I can search. You know what? I think I made them both 20%. Let me switch one. Oh, you know what? I think I forgot to save the 10%. So let's go. Let's take off the. Let's go 10%. And I can search by 10% or 20% down. It's not, it's not sophisticated as the, an IDX is going to be, but again, the point of doing your listings manually like this, and I get it, it's more work. Great SEO. In lieu of writing, well, you want to write your content, but putting a listing up with content is just as valuable. So that's how to do that. And I think we're pretty much through what I wanted to talk about. If you guys have questions, I'll stay as long as you want.
I have a question.
Yeah, I've got to leave shortly, but I'll listen as long as I can.
Okay.
Dave, I have a question. When you spoke of the other day, when I asked something specific, you said, well, that's a premium widget. Is that, when you say the word premium, does that mean over and above and it's an expense that we have to pay out to get that widget?
I don't remember the conversation, but typically what is in here for widgets, they're already included. They're free.
Okay, well, then let me give you two circumstances, and I think Maureen will probably use both in the future. So if we're to have, for example, I have numerous, I'm going to have like 7 people on the side, which when you read their bios, you'll be able to go to their page, and then what I'd like to do is have like Ask Scott a Question, where you'd be able to put your contact information or an email, and then through a typing area, be able to type out a question for me, which in turn comes to me in an email form.
Yeah. That's actually already built. We've installed a premium contact form system beyond what the basic free stuff you can get. So it's already in your system. It's called GravityForms. So with GravityForms, you can, and Dale is putting together a very good tutorial on how to use this. He's much better with it than I am. But you can make your own custom form. Let's make one real quick. Like if you wanted your own form for people to fill out, we can have, they can fill out their name, phone number, email, maybe their website address. If we want to give them some ability to put in a paragraph of text, we can do that. So we can call this Scott's form. Now you're going to have other brokers. So I don't know that you would necessarily name it this, but just for now, let's do that. And you can change. You can change the titles to these. However you want to change it, I can save the form. Now, so if you come to an area where you want to put your own information, as maybe it's on a page or a post. Let's use a page. I can come create a new page just for you. This is Scott's page. And we can put some text in. Whatever you want to say, blah, blah, blah. Come down here. Oh, where's the GravityForm? Oh, here it is. There's a little button here, Add GravityForm. It's going to pull up a little menu. Oh, well, I just made a form for Scott. It's your own unique form. And we put it in there like that. Now, what I can do then is with that form, because if you only want those emails just to go to you, is I can actually go back in. Let's edit the forms. There's Scott's form, notifications.
Okay.
So we want to enable the notifications. So where's that going to go to? Well, we're going to send it to Scott Cook at Liberty One. It's going to come from, like, you may have an admin email that you want it to come from. What subjects? You're going to get all the submitted fields of that form. Lead from website. And Dale does a better job than this than I do, but so this is going to come to you. Notification to administrator. This one is notification to the user. This is what your user is going to get. So subject, thanks for your interest in foreclosures. Message. It could be, thanks for filling. We'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Okay.
Now that form is just for you. Now each one of your agents can have their own form, right?
Right.
Really nice.
And I saw the question that I was going to ask is how do I want to be notified on every single one. So I saw the BCC there.
Yep.
And I could be, blind copied on everything.
Absolutely.
Maureen?
Yes?
Not that I'm a control freak.
Nah, you're the guy in charge. You got to know what your people are doing.
I understand. I think that's a good idea. You should know that.
Hey,
yeah.
Thank you. The next thing I want to ask Dave.
Yes.
And I want to have this as one of the first things that they see is they're able to download something. In other words, as a lead generator, a gift on the spot would be maybe a 21-page PDF on the short sale process. So they would enter their information, be it simple, and then be able to click a download button and automatically receive an email form with a attachment. Can we do that? Or can it download right on their screen and they can save it then?
That can be done. Yes, I have to. There's plugins for WordPress that'll do that. So I would have to get back to you on that.
That's a pretty common thing, but the only thing that's uncommon is a lot of people don't. In other words, you click on the link and it opens up 21 pages. You can save it, but as a lead generator, I would like to know who's doing what.
Right. We use MailChimp. I think let me talk to Dale and Jeff in the office about how to do that. I know there's a really smart way to do that. I mean, what would be great is to have that go into like MailChimp or Aweber and autoresponder, so you have it and they can get periodic, additional emails from you or however you want to set it up. So I will need to research that a little bit, but I understand what you want though.
And just so
Dave, I've got an appointment I have to leave for, but I'll.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I appreciate you being on the training.
Okay, I'll be back on the next one.
Okay, great. And yeah, I'm here.
So I want to send you a specific sample, a website, a short sale website that has what I want to accomplish, so we're both on the same page.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, it's worth 1,000 words, and this is what I want, so I thought I'd at least send it to you, so we're good.
It's not rocket science.
No, it's not. And this is my first weekend, and I really, really appreciate you doing these tutorials.
No, we're, our goal is, I mean, you can get a website from anybody, but, our goal is that, we want to have the best service and the best training in the business. And I don't see anywhere out in the market where that's happening. So, we're raising the bar on what people are putting out right now.
Okay, well, thank you. And one last question for you. We talked about email in the past.
Yes.
And using an email service. I think I figured out a way where I'm going to take and just